What do you guys see as the future of Hasan and the Unseen?
That was a big question.
Yeah, hitting it right off the gate.
You've
Band You've Never Heard Of is a new podcast in which you can discover new bands. We really think it's kind of a big deal supporting all of these bands that you've never heard of. Please help us learn about these amazing bands that have yet to make it big. You can do that by simply subscribing on your favorite platform or on our YouTube channel. You could write a review on Apple Podcasts or give us a thumbs up or leave a comment on any of our YouTube videos. You know the drill. It's really the only way for a homegrown podcast like ours to get any traction. In return, we promise to introduce you to our favorite bands that you've never heard of. Welcome to Bands You've Never Heard Of. This is our second episode. We could not be more excited to be back. I'm JR.
And I'm Gary, and we're here to introduce you and me to a band you've never heard of. And the premise of the show is that JR does incredible amounts of research and vetting of the band, with the hope is it going to hit all of my buttons. And then we're going to explore to see if it'll hit your buttons.
So I'm going to play Gary some songs and introduce him to this episode's band you've never heard of. We'll read their bio. We'll take a look at their socials, their YouTube, their Spotify, and all of that. And once I'm done introducing Gary to them, we'll take a short break, and then we will introduce everybody to the actual band. They have agreed to come on this show and let us interview them live, just like we did in the last episode with Room for Zero. So I'm super excited for Gary and you to meet Hasan and the Unseen.
Hasan and the Unseen.
That's the name of the band, Hasan and the Unseen. They could be described as a Los Angeles-based psychedelic rock band.
Interesting.
So here's a spoiler alert for later. These guys do a lot of covers when they play out, and they put a lot of that on their social media. We'll experience that here in a few minutes. But you don't hear too many psychedelic rock bands doing a pretty solid cover of like Creedence Clearwater Revival.
No, you do not.
That doesn't really mix in my mind. And that's because these guys are just a good band. They seem to be able to play anything. I've seen their socials. They are covering anything from Creedence to Green Day to Radiohead, Metallica, Pearl Jam, and a bunch more. I had to stop. I didn't have time to continue on with all of the covers they're putting out there, and they do them well.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I'm stoked.
We're only going to listen to one of their covers tonight.
Okay, good, because this is mostly
on
about
their original stuff.
Yeah. Good. I mean, we're doing mostly original.
So, here's what I found out about them when I first found them on Spotify. Here's their bio. A band years in the making. Hasan and Stewart met as roommates in 2009 while attending the Musicians Institute. Quickly became great friends and started working on music in 2012. One show was performed, and that would be it for a while as Hasan moved back to Chicago. While in Chicago, Hasan formed Leland Way, where they played originals and covers. Hasan's songs were developed and played out frequently. Back in L.A. in 2014, Stewart would meet Matt from a Craigslist ad he replied to about a kids' band needing a guitarist. The two would go on to be part of various cover bands and also tour the world with Samurai Fish. With the Fish, they were the house band for the Vampire Diaries and Once Upon a Time fan conventions. In 2020, Hasan moved back to LA and started getting to work with Stewart, producing songs for him as a solo artist. In 2022, Red or Black and 1805 would be released out of the Alter Studios, Matt playing drums on both records. The last quarter of 2022, the three decided to take this project and make it their own as a live act. Hasan and the Unseen was born. Any questions about their bio?
No, that's that's a very factual bio, and it had a lot of information in it, which it kind of reminds me of our old bio before we changed it.
Only way shorter.
Well, yeah. I do have one question.
Okay, hit me.
All right, so, well, actually, it's a multi-part question, so it's probably about 45 questions. So it's Hasan, Stewart, and Matt.
That's
right?
correct. It's a threesome.
Okay.
It's a trio.
Hasan was the producer for Stewart and Matt, correct?
Correct.
Yet when they get together,
yes,
Hasan is the name, and then they're the unseen.
Apparently.
Yeah. So a little confusing from the background to the foreground for me. Nothing. I mean, it's not negative or anything necessarily, but it just seems a little weird since the way it seems to be organically. It's kind of like the Jay Giles band. It's like, well, I can have a band, but you have to call it Jay Giles band, and then I'll be in it, even though he didn't sing or write the songs or anything. He just played guitar.
He just played guitar.
He just played guitar, but he had a really good agent, and so they were named the Jay Giles Band. And,
well, Hasan is the voice you're hearing on most, maybe all of their original songs. So it will be his melodious voice that I think we will all fall in love with shortly, because I know I have. I love hearing this guy sing. It's one of my favorite aspects of this band.
Sweet. So it's guitar, bass, and drums, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So that's I like that. I like the makeup already. So.
Hasan is on bass.
Okay. So Matt's on guitar, and Stewart is on...
I think Matt is on drums, Stewart is on
guitar.
that's
right, Matt's on drums, that's right.
Yeah.
And Stewart's on guitar.
And the couple of the guys met at the Musicians Institute, and I'm curious, first off, have you heard of that? Are you familiar with it? Anything at all?
I've heard of it, but I don't know anybody that went there, so I'm not really familiar with it.
So, based on what I found, it was a small school for musicians focusing mostly on guitar and bass. It started in 1977 above the Hollywood Wax Museum, took up 2 floors above the Hollywood Wax Museum. Now, it is a major music education facility. And so, you have heard of it, though, right?
Yes. Absolutely, yes.
Okay. And so you don't, but you couldn't say off the top of your head, like, who, if anybody, is maybe like a famous alumni?
No, but I'm sure there are. I'm sure there's a slew of them.
All right, I got a
just
list.
from just simply from location.
I got a list. There's a
Holy
list.
crap, that's a list right there.
Yeah, and I don't know guitarists and bass player names that well, being a drummer. But there was one name that stood out for me on this list, and that's this name right here.
John Frusciante, yeah.
The guitarist, most of the time guitarist for the Red Hot Chili Peppers.
Yeah.
The creative force behind their best album, Blood Sugar Sex Magic. And so he is an alum of this Musicians Institute. Whole lot of names here. There's probably some other famous people on from this place, but I've never heard of them. Here's what their website shows that they're most proud of. Let's get rid of that and scroll down to find this guy. Ever heard of Anderson .Paak?
Oh yeah,
8-time Grammy winner.
Yeah, him and the guy from Hawaii.
The guy from Hawaii.
From Hawaii,
That's
yeah.
Right.
Oh, yeah. Go ahead, move on. I'll come back to it.
Okay. So the Musicians Institute, if you start to Google it, you'll find people are like, what's better, Juilliard or the Musicians Institute? And they approach things very differently. Musicians Institute seems to have a much more contemporary approach, and it's more about teaching and less about competition. And it's really seems kind of cool. Like, I wish I had gone there many, many, many years ago to actually learn what to do, rather than self-teaching myself and figuring it out the hard way.
But Bruno Mars.
Oh, I didn't know he was from Hawaii.
Yeah.
Yeah, right on.
Yeah. Yep. Hawaii and the Philippines. His whole family, it grew up in a family band kind of thing. From what I'd heard, they're kind of, where Juilliard is just all about the prestige and stuff. And then there's Berkeley, who is kind of like the MIT of music schools. It's, they're more about the math, the hardcore math about it. And these guys are kind of the K-Tech. They're the ones. Okay, this is what you need to go out and make a living, playing music. It's like this is real world stuff, not of course theory is everything in music, but or nothing depending on who you talk to. But they're not all about, like you said, they're not all about the competition and and I hate saying this, but they're not all about the art of the music. They are about the making of the music, and that there's a difference. It's like it's way more. It's almost like blue collar versus
how to do it.
Yeah, this is get it done. This is
yeah.
You want to make a living at this, not you want to be so awesome.
From what I have found, that is what I'm picking up about the Musicians Institute as well. So they met there, they separated, went their own ways for a while, came back together, and they've been putting music out now for a little while. So let's take a look at their discography. It starts way back here in 2022, so just 3 years ago now, with the song Red or Black. And I think we should start there. You ready?
I'm ready. Let's do it.
Here we go. This is Red or Black by Hasan and The Unseen.
And mama's heart won't break, but it's too weak to take. Take your time each day. And my best friend, he knows that it's too hard to show. It's hard to say. And mama's heart won't break, but it's too weak to take. Take your time each day.
that was their introduction to the world, Red and Black, back in 2022. Gary, your initial thoughts?
I like it. Definitely not psychedelic rock, though. I mean, it's a good old pop song, which I love. Nice, really nice melody, nice hooks. I mean, that's a 9 out of 10 for me. I mean, it's good stuff.
Nice. Yeah. What do you think of his voice?
Interesting. I mean, I had no idea what to expect, but that being said, that was probably the furthest away from what I was expecting.
Nice.
And this is going to sound weird, but I hear a little Geddy Lee in him.
Oh, okay.
A little Geddy Lee. I can't tell you why, but I think
bass player from Rush who sings, right?
Yeah, and it has a very high pitched tenor voice. But I mean, a lot of people would not take that as a compliment. But it is meant as a compliment, or actually just straight up as a comparison. I like it, but it's a lot more tenor, a lot higher tenor than I was really expecting. I think because I for some reason I don't expect that high a tenor in most pop music, or rock music especially.
All right, let's do another one. They released 2 songs, as just explained in their bio. The other one is called 1805, and here it is.
It's not my fault, I can't be trusted. In the dark she can't be taught. The way she looks at me in the eyes. 1805, where my thoughts went refined. The will and the floor, well they danced and they scored. But I can't deny the need to supply the pleasures she don't bring you. Reflect your thoughts that aren't like you do. And it's so hard to be you. Yeah, with thoughts that aren't like you do. And it's so hard to be you. But 1805 was the room that it died. So they chose their own way, but they turned in dismay. Though I can't deny the need to supply the pleasures she don't bring you.
All right, that's the first minute 40 seconds of 1805 by Hasan and The Unseen. Your thoughts, Gary?
I like it. I mean, his voice. He's showing the different aspects of his voice. I'm gonna be blatantly honest. Wasn't too crazy about the jumping back and forth between the lo-fi and the regular, and the melodic parts. I love lo-fi. I love having it, in a spot, but not every other spot. It's just, a personal thing. But it just seemed kind of disjointed to me and a bit confusing as to where they're going with it. But other than that, once again, he didn't sound quite as much Geddy Lee, but I could still hear it there. But I really like the voice and damn, hook, melodic, instrumental, everything. Just a little too busy with the lo-fi elements.
That's a very busy song. I'll give you that. I personally do not mind the stop or the break into the lo-fi stuff, and then it comes right back and it's crystal clear. I like that effect, and they don't do that on every single song.
No, I mean I love that effect. I want to do that more, but not after every freaking verse.
I do not mind it at all. It's just beautiful, and the freaking drums. I want to drum like
The
Matt.
drums, the drums are amazeballs.
Drums are tight. All right, let's move forward. We're not going to be able to play every song they've put out, but we are going to play a lot of them. We're going to skip to 2023 now. This song is clearly based on Highway 405 running through Los Angeles, which is, I think, yet another sort of parallel with what they're doing and what the Red Hot Chili Peppers have done. They seem to have a lot of L.A. stuff in their
A lot
songs.
of California in their
Yeah. Here we go. This is 405 by Hasan and The Unseen.
But I'm choking on the past and the future. These pills won't last. Let's roll another line. You know I'm never last. You know I'm never last. But the 405 tells a story with every skid line. It's something that we can't deny. Well, the last one made me blind. But it's 2 a.m. and I'm lost in my head, and I want in on another binge. And you know it makes me grin. You know it makes me. But the 405 tells a story with every skid line. It's something that we can't deny. Well, the last one made me blind. But slow it down and drown in the abyss. It's a lifestyle she never thought he would live. But please never say never, 'cause dreams crush like this in this cold weather. But the 405 tells a story with every skin line. It's something that we can't deny.
The 405 by Hasan and The Unseen. Your thoughts, Gary?
Well, you know I'm a sucker for a break.
That was a
And
good break.
that gave me chills. Literally gave me chills. And I got sucked in. They got the video there, which is nothing but a static camera, which I am assuming is pointed at the 405. And
they're doing something with their Spotify that I think we need to figure out, Gary, because I don't know how they
got
got
video.
that image.
Spotify's got video, man.
Did they? I know they do. Did they take this video? Did they find it online somewhere? How did they get this video in their Spotify? It's compelling.
Honestly, it looks like a traffic cam, but they could have easily just set a phone up for 3 minutes and taped stuff. It could be stock footage.
Yeah.
Love it, but I mean, what really sold me was that break, because that was chill inducing, absolutely chill inducing. It was just perfect. I did have a little bit of arrangement issue with the going from the electric to the acoustic. Seemed a little abrupt.
I don't think I have I've listened to all of these songs many, many times in the past few weeks, and I never picked up on how abrupt that was until I'm sitting here listening to it with you, and I'm thinking, all right, what is Gary picking up on? And boom, that hits. And I'm like, he is going to mention that switch, which I did not notice upon first or 45th listening to this song, but one time with you, and I picked up on it.
But now coming out of that into the heavy part was
way smoother.
Was great. I mean, it was perfect. I mean, absolutely perfect. But and it wasn't terrible. it just was a little too abrupt for me, and it was like, okay, we're thinking this, right hand, left hand is like, all right, we're doing this now. Okay, we're doing this now, and it just seemed like there was no transition whatsoever, but you made it up with that break. Yeah, I mean, I almost didn't bring it up just because I was just agog by the break. So
I just want to play all of these songs again. I don't want this show to be 3 hours long. I want to get to our interview with Hasan and The Unseen. So we're going to do 2 more songs, and we have to take a look at their socials. I can't wait to show you what they're putting out on Instagram.
We got to vote on the names and stuff like that.
Yep.
And,
Yep. There you go.
We have rules here at Bands You've Never Heard Of.
Yes.
That we made up. And
so
we have to.
This next song has some changes too, and I had been thinking, I wonder if Gary's going to be annoyed by these changes or if he's going to dig them as much as I do, because and this is as far as like it's the first song that pops up on the Spotify. It seems to be. They identify with this Leland Way, which is like a street shopping center in LA. I chat GPT'd it. I gave chat GPT the photo that is accompanies this song, and it identifies it as right there in like Hollywood and Vine and that whole area.
Oh, sweet.
So it's you can tell by there's palm trees in it. It's kind of cool. So once again, really, this band is tied to LA. And this song is called Leland Way by Hasan and The Unseen.
See, I've been fighting all night, and I'm trying not to make you mine, and I'm trying not to lose my mind. So if you know what I need, then baby, won't you lay down right in front of me? So if you know what I need, then baby, won't you lay down right next to me? Back Leland Way, oh, she says no, she cries no.
That's Leland Way by Hasan and The Unseen. It is my favorite of their songs. I have listened to it 150 times. There was no way I was going to stop it halfway through to save time. I had to play the entire thing for you, mainly because of that drum fill coming back in from a break is just sick.
Yes.
And their drummer is clearly a power drummer that also has finesse. And I'm only half of that equation personally, and I am jealous of Matt's chops. But I every time I hear the guitar work on these songs, I think of you, and I hope you're digging the guitar as much as I think you are. I should shut up now. What did you think about Leland Way?
Well, actually, that was the first thing I was going to say is that, dang, I love those guitars in this song.
Yeah.
It's in the other songs they're really good, and they go in, they get the little spooky part, the heavy reverb. But this one, it seems like the guitars are way more out front, or as an integral part of the song. And then he does the rip solo, which is phenomenal. So I'm definitely Team Stewart, big time, because that was some really groovy stuff. But also Team Matt, because God, I wish you could play some stuff like that. It would be, just that tight, because you got your patented stuff, but it would be really cool to be able to throw in some really tight things like he does. And I'm sure that you were like, man, I wish Gary would do that kind of shit too, but it is, this is probably my favorite. I was, when you said, oh, this one changes a lot, are you going to like it? The first part, they never repeat. That's kind of,
the opening of the song sounds very different from the entire rest of the song.
Yeah. And so they just kind of discard that. I was kind of hoping they'd bring it back for the coda. But they didn't. But that's okay, because it's just an intro. It's the opening. It's the opening to the song. You can discard it however you want. And the transitions between the other two parts were flawless. There was no. I didn't go, oh, what are they doing now? It just seemed it seemed flawless. And then came the bridge, which as you know is a big thing for me, is to be able to smooth in and out of a bridge. And that was one iced over bridge right there, man. You couldn't get any smoother than that.
Yeah. I'm glad you're picking up on what I've been enjoying for the past few weeks. All right, those are the originals. We're going to do some exploration now, because when you go to Spotify and look up Hasan and The Unseen, you'll see their top songs. And we didn't talk about how you qualify to be on this show. First off, you have to have not more than 100,000 plays of any song on Spotify or YouTube. They're not even close. Red or Black has the most at 3,100 plays on Spotify. That's the most of any of their songs. Kind of incredible that they're this good and nobody knows about them.
And that's the sad thing, is that's the oldest song, too,
right?
Or the reason. But that's why we do this show, folks.
It's exactly
because
why we do
there are
this show.
these bands out here that need to be heard, that deserve to be heard, and Spotify's not doing it. If you want to learn more about that, follow me on Gary Goes On and On and On.
So,
because I'm sure there's a Spotify one coming up soon.
I'm sure you have thoughts on Spotify. So it's hard for a band to get a lot of traction only doing originals, right? Because people want to hear songs they know. And this band understands that. And we're going to see that as we go through their Instagram here in a little bit. But I want to stay on Spotify for a second and play you just a touch of their version of my absolute favorite Green Day song. Are you a big Green Day fan, Gary? I don't know that you are.
Oh, no, I love Green Day.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
Brain Stew. You see the song?
Yes.
See it right here?
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna hit play on that in a second. And so just start to think, what does Brain Stew sound like when played by Green Day? Can you remember it? Can you kind of get a feel for it? It's that song
It's a little fuzzy, but it's coming to me.
So the Billy Armstrong?
Billy Joe Armstrong.
Billy Joe Armstrong wrote this as he was like rocking his baby to sleep because he couldn't get any sleep because he had to keep getting awakened by his baby, and this was the song that came out of that, and it's a heavy rocker from Green Day, and when played by Hasan and the Unseen, Brain Stew sounds a little different.
I'm having trouble trying to sleep. I'm counting sheep but running out. It's time to expire, but still I try. No rest for cross stops in my mind. Well, on my own, here we go. My eyes feel like they're gonna bleed.
All right. It doesn't change much in this one, and I don't want to get a copyright strike from Green Day, so we're going to stop it there. Your thoughts on their cover of Brain Stew?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it. It actually sounds more like what he's writing about.
Yeah. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah. But for obvious intent, Green Day couldn't play it like that because that's not Green Day.
No.
But there's this part of me that's going, man, that's what he meant. I wonder if they sent it to him. They should send it to him. He goes, and just go, hey, is this what you meant when you wrote this?
Yeah.
And I would, I'm not a gambling guy, but I'd put $1 on that. He'd go, that sounds about right.
When this thing goes up on YouTube and that song is in it and the Green Day copyright claim comes up, I am absolutely going to dispute it and simply say, please play this song for Billy Joe Armstrong and tell me he doesn't want this band to be more known. Come on, give us permission to just play this song, please.
Yeah. Yeah, because because that sounds like what he's talking about. 100%.
Yeah, no, I think you could actually use this version to maybe sing your baby to sleep.
No, the little syncopations and stuff would definitely mess with their
need the rhythm. How about that? Is that a Hammond organ? Is that what's going on in there?
I think that's a farfisa. I'm pretty sure. I'm sure it's a sample, whatever it is. But to me, it sounds more like a farfisa, which is basically a Japanese organ trying to be
I think you're making up words now. I don't know what you're talking about.
Making up words.
All right, let's go check out Hasan and the Unseen. When you search for their name, Hasan and the Unseen, on the old Google machine, you know what you get? Everything Hasan and the Unseen related. You get their Spotify.
I love the Legos.
I know, right? Isn't that a cool? That's a great shot. You get their Spotify, their Instagram, their Apple Music, their YouTube, etc., etc. So their name. Before we dig into their socials, let's rate the name Hasan and the Unseen. Thumbs up or thumbs down, Gary?
Well, it's definitely a SEO thumbs up. I still have issues with. I guess now now that we've heard it and Hasan is the singer and everything, it just seems weird that it's Hasan and the Unseen since it's only two more people. But I'm going to give it a thumbs up overall because it's searchable and it's not weird. It's kind of normal.
Yeah.
I would not want to be part of the Unseen. but that's just semantics.
With a
unless it was just the Unseen, You know what I'm saying?
Just the Unseen is a
Yeah.
cool band name by
Yeah.
itself, but
Or
would
just
be a
the Unseen.
nightmare for SEO though.
Oh, I'm sure.
That would
But
not work.
just the Unseen.
You throw Hasan on the beginning of that, and now it is perfectly unique.
Yeah, and that's what I'm sure that's where they probably did their name to be able, in the modern way of naming your band,
Yeah.
which is to test it. You test market it with the corporate overlords, and if the corporate overlords pass you, then you fly.
I wonder if they learned this at the Musicians Institute. There you go.
If I was teaching that class at the Musicians Institute, they damn well would learn it, or they would fail.
Also, I think it's awesome that with a name like Hasan, who knows how people are going to react to that type of a name in today's climate, right? And so it might be easy to think maybe I'll not go with that, but not afraid to throw that out there. And kudos to him and the band for doing that. Seems like a little thing, but I mean, there are going to be people that will see Hasan and will write this off and never listen to it, and it will be their loss. But I'm extremely happy. I give it a total thumbs up for the name.
Yeah, I mean it's a I don't want to say a qualified thumbs up. It's a solid thumbs up, not a total thumbs up, but a solid thumbs up for me. Because just because I don't want to be a part of the Unseen.
All right, rate the bio. I'm not going to read it again. You have to rewind it if you
The
don't
bio
remember
is
it.
straight up facts. That's a mid 3.5. It wasn't crazy like the last one, but it was kind of a little bit boring.
I do want it to
kinda
be more like the music, and less like the facts. I
Yeah.
would agree with that. So it's not like a loser, horrible, no good bio. It tells the story of the band and how they were born, and they were recently born. It kind of makes sense at this stage. But
if you're still awake at the end of the bio, you've learned their story. You've learned their story.
Another
I said
band
if I was still awake at the end, which is pretty good because I had a long night and played all day. So I'm still awake. I made it through the bio, which is a good sign. But you could do better.
So it's another band we need to put together with Lucas Warford from 3 for Silver. Maybe he can
Absolutely,
write their bio.
yes,
They could come up with some
or give
good
him
stuff.
a couple of hinters, a couple of pointers.
All right, I'm scrolling through their Instagram now, and there's some great pictures of the band. They seem to have some.
I want to talk. I want to talk
cool
about
stuff.
the Legos.
The Hasan and the Unseen, the Lego pack.
Yes, yes.
It's pretty cool.
That is.
Look how many pieces are in it. 808. The 808. That's
That
nice.
is fabulous. With a Lego base and everything.
Yeah.
I love it.
And I don't know if you've seen pictures of the guitarist yet, but this is
That's Matt.
These are
that's
Stewart, and this is Hasan, and this is Matt, and these Lego likenesses are right on. I'm feeling like this might be AI.
I have a feeling. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
because they didn't have a. I don't think that they had Lego build their own. Build them a set. It's either if it's not AI, it's somebody that does graphics really well. And
so
kudos,
here's Stewart.
regardless.
Here's Stewart, the guitarist. Here.
Ooh, playing a Jackson
Oh, I don't even know. Is that the guitar he's playing?
guitar. Yeah.
Nice. All right, let's move on. I'm not going to play the audio from all these because most of them are covers, and we'll get an ungodly amount of copyright claims on this thing.
Yeah.
So let's see what else we got. I am going to play this one here in a little bit. Pretty excited for that one. What's he playing in this picture here?
You can't really see. It's a little too jerky.
Yeah, it's got some filter stuff
Oh,
on it.
it's weird. It's kind of like a left-handed Les Paul playing right, but it's not a Les Paul headstock. So I don't know. Maybe an ESP. I don't know.
There's Hasan singing, and he does have an iPad in front of him.
All right,
If you
they fail.
noticed that.
Sorry. Next,
Yeah,
we'll move on now.
We can't. We
Love
can't
you
mention-
guys. Love you
can't-
guys.
can't-
Have a nice
can't-
day.
Can't mention this band on Cover Band Central.
He's gonna get some shit on Wednesday. Sorry.
He doesn't always do it. Maybe that's when they're just doing a lot of covers. I don't know. But we are going to get to a thing that I want to play for you here in a second because it will seem eerily familiar to some of our gigs. Is this the video? Yeah, this is it. And I am going to play the audio from this one because it's one of their songs.
And I'm trying not to make you mine. And I'm trying not to lose my mind. So if you know what I need, then baby, won't you lay down right in front of me? So if you know what I need, then baby, won't you lay down right next to me? But she screams all night, it's better with me.
Okay. What are you seeing? What are you hearing? What are you picking up from this one, Gary?
He's using a kick pedal on his cajon.
Using a kick pedal on his cajon. I am probably going to go over to Sweetwater after this and get one of those.
Get
'cause
a
that
cajon
seems-
kick.
Yeah, and he's playing
Seems like it'd be a
cajon.
lot easier.
No kidding. I'm using
what
my
you
right
do.
hand as the kick pedal on the cajon, and my right hand hurts at the end of a small acoustic gig. This is from an open mic gig, and clearly in what looks like maybe a Mexican restaurant or something. It's,
Yeah, it definitely looks like a Mexican restaurant, doesn't it?
It does, and it's if you didn't pick up on it, it's Leland Way, but it's done totally acoustic, so you don't have that acoustic intro into the electric full-on version. So pretty sweet. And the drummer is not only using the kick pedal on the cajon, but he's using those
Blast sticks.
Right. And what I've been using on a cajon is like sticks kind of made for a cajon. This
Yeah,
seems
the,
way cooler.
you
This
use
is a
those-
neat sound. I'm
You
digging what
use
he's
those
doing.
like the big nylon things, right?
Yeah, nylon brushes
Yeah.
for the cajon.
Yeah, these are the bamboo. Those are the bamboo blast sticks, which you have a pair of.
I do.
Yeah.
So I just need to get the kick pedal, and maybe then we can
I'm-
be like Hasan and The Unseen.
I have one issue with that, or
okay.
not my issue, but it will soon be your issue. You don't play the cajon like that.
Oh no, I know.
Your
That's the
blast
finesse.
sticks would last maybe a half a song.
Yeah,
on the
I'm
cajon.
going to need to learn
That's
some
why
finesse.
That's why you would literally need to use, continue using the nylon ones, because the plastics, and we love Brian, and with all that bamboo sticking in the back of his neck and stuff from them shredding as you beat them senseless on that wooden box. We can't lose him. I mean, and granted, he's not here very often, but I'd hate to lose him.
We do need our bass player.
Yes.
Yeah. All right, so that's everything I have to show you about Hasan and The Unseen. I literally was playing them on the way home today with my girlfriend Kiki in the car. She hasn't heard them before. I told them that what we were doing with this band tonight, and she was tapping her knee right along with this song on the first listen. So she's digging them. Sounds like you're digging them.
Oh, definitely. Yeah. I mean, this is definitely a band you should have heard of. I mean, definitely more than 3,000 people should have heard of. I mean, that's just, but once again, they're just putting this stuff out there and hoping for the best, and kind of relying on corporate infrastructure to give them what they promised us so many years ago. And it's just not happening. So that's why we're here.
They don't have a
direct people
huge
that way.
They don't have a huge presence on YouTube, so we can't rate those videos. I'm giving them a thumbs up for their Instagram presence because they're putting out a bunch of original content and covers and cool looking videos of them playing live.
Oh, I love that video with the 50s TV filter on it was really cool.
Yeah,
of the last one.
Definitely find them on their Instagram. You won't be sorry. You'll get a pretty good feel for what it would be like to go to a Hasan and the Unseen show.
Yeah. Are they basically just playing in LA, or
that seems to be? They seem to be very LA based right now, and I don't know. I hope they go on tour. I hope they get some wider acclaim. People need to know about these guys, and they've got the chops, they've got the voice, the guitar, the drums, the bass sounds great. Like they are the complete package, writing great original songs, and I want them to be big. I want to be one of the people that discovered them.
Yeah. And I can't wait to talk to him.
Yeah, that's enough talking about Hasan and the Unseen.
Coming right up now.
It's time to meet him. After a quick break, we will be back live with Hasan and the Unseen.
Though time may take what it used to make.
There he is. Stewart Tuttle. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
The way it's showing up on my screen.
They have a third of a panel. There's the other half.
Scoot in.
Yeah, you guys might have to get real close and intimate.
Or back, probably back.
Either get close or widescreen. There we go. Wow, this is 2 in a row. I'm liking this.
I love it. You guys are in the studio, huh?
We're in the studio, yep.
This is Stewart's studio.
Is this like at your house kind of a studio?
No, it's studio.
Very cool. Did you guys pause making music to join us for this podcast?
No, I think we were all eating and
I'm still eating.
and then showed up here. Did you get a session before this?
I did, yeah.
I was golfing.
I was actually writing.
JR disc golfs.
Just for the record, I was writing a new song today. So
Nice.
Wow. There we go.
Well,
that's good. No microphone in the shot.
Just now we can see the knees plain as day.
Oh yeah, the most important.
That's right. Hasan and the Unseen, thank you so much for agreeing to do this, to be on our show, and to let us just compliment the hell out of you for the next however long we do that, because I have been seriously listening to you guys pretty much exclusively while I'm driving around, in the background at work, at home while I'm making dinner. And just a couple of days ago, I introduced Gary to you guys. One surprise after another, one song after another, in hopes that he would like them too, that would like you too. And I'm pretty sure he did.
I think the verdict was a big thumbs up. Yes, most definitely. It was. There was some really cool stuff going on, man. It's and then thank you also for sending us your the new single, because that shows that I was just telling JR as we were prepping a little bit. It shows us the direction that you've come from and the direction that you're going into, and that is always a wonderful from our aspect too, from being in a band, to be able to watch somebody, your journey, your growth, or whatever cliche you want to use, but to see where you've come from and where you're going, and that makes it even that much more rich.
Yeah.
But we have a question for you.
Go ahead.
Why haven't y'all been heard of before?
Well, we are the Unseen, so I guess
Right.
that makes sense.
We were actually going to ask about that. We talked about your name a little bit. We give your name of the band a 2 thumbs up.
Yep.
Especially when you look at it as like a search engine optimization angle. Like nothing else comes up when you search for Hasan and the Unseen. So do you guys mind being the Unseen?
mean, I think we definitely would love to be seen. I mean, the more listeners, the better, right? But yeah, that name, that name came from you two, right? Pretty much.
Yeah, it like originated from Matt, because
Yeah.
and it got like shorter because it was really long before. Like it was Hasan, Salome, and the Sight Unseen.
Wow.
And we had to condense that quite a bit. And yeah, we ended with Hasan and the Unseen. And yeah, it definitely, I could say me personally, like I had my quarrels with it at first. I don't think I was like super excited about it at first, but I think I've grown into it and have really liked it a lot now.
Yeah, we compared it
what
to
kind?
the Jay Giles band a little bit. It was, it's like, oh, I could be in this band, but only if my name is in it.
Oh, yeah. Well, you know what? Yeah, what's funny is I was kind of like a little anti my name in it. Stewart was the one who was pushing my name in it for sure. I was trying to just have like a band name, like.
I was telling Gary, I thought it was a bold choice to put your name in it, right? I mean, there are certain segments of this population that might not respond well to that name, but going with it anyway, I think is awesome. So that was a decision you guys had to make. Did you think about all that?
Yeah,
I don't think we thought about it that way.
I mean, I definitely did, because I was like, man, like I was more worried that people were gonna see that name and be like, oh, what is this, like some Middle Eastern like pop singer or something like that. So I was definitely kind of like, oh, like this could go either way, very much like you said, But I also think now that I've like really appreciated, I think it's more becoming than anything, as opposed to like, stuffing some, shiny lights and flowers on a name. It's like, no, this is my name, and we're embracing it and rolling with it.
That's awesome. I hope you don't mind being featured on a podcast called Bands You've Never Heard of. But I have to assume that you have a bit of a following locally in LA, right? Like you have a solid Instagram, you have great music, you seem to play out a lot. What do you guys see as the future of Hasan and the Unseen?
Damn, the big question.
Yeah, hitting right out the gate.
I think a big part of it is just still working on the music, creating more music and getting it out there. And even another side of it, as far as writing music is concerned, is also we have a few more covers that we're kind of wanting to integrate as far as releases. So I don't know, you checked out the Brain Stew cover. That was the first cover that we released. And we have a couple more that we do our own spins on, like much like the Brain Stew one, that's different than the original, that I think people are really, really going to enjoy it. At least they're receptive. They're really receptive to those songs that we play live, kind of our own way. So that's,
Do you guys get more gigs as a cover band, or do you play mostly originals when you play out? Like how does that work for you?
Mostly it's originals right now. I mean,
Yeah.
we've definitely been hired as a cover band before too. But most of the gigs we're doing right now are original. Like, we're playing on Saturday, and that's going to be mostly originals. I would say like 60-40.
Yeah.
That's a good ratio.
Yeah.
I want to definitely hear Matt singing some CCR at the whenever I get to LA and see you guys.
Hey,
All right. Yeah.
That's-
What do I sing? Have you ever seen the rain? I
Yeah.
sing that one.
Mm.
That's fun.
So that one's on our radar to create a studio version of that and release that one, because so much response. Every time we do any post of that or play that one live, people love that song.
For sure.
Yeah, it's funny because Brain Stew, we kind of just went a completely different direction with and made it a kind of a, I don't know, what would you call it? Like a reggae shuffle kind of thing.
Swingy, yeah.
Which, by the way, was Matt's idea,
That was Matt's idea, too.
because we were playing it the original way.
Yeah.
And Matt was like, hey, like, and sounds good, but what if we did it like this?
to put some swing on it.
Yeah. And we were like, what?
Yeah.
This is amazing.
You made that song sexy.
Yeah. So with Have You Ever Seen the Rain, we bump it up about 20 BPMs or so.
Okay.
So, kind of put our thing on it. Yeah, it's fun.
So Matt's not just a drummer; he's part of the song creation process, huh?
I haven't written anything, but I do have ideas on, hey, what if we did this kind of thing? So it's fun.
That's awesome. I've been reading your bio, trying to look through stuff, trying to find out as much about you as I can. So here's a couple questions based on that. What did and I think it's just Hasan and Stewart that went to the Musicians Institute, is that right?
Yeah.
And what did the Musicians Institute teach you guys that you are still using today?
Do you want to go first?
You can go.
Yeah,
first.
man. What
they
teach you?
Yeah.
What they teach you?
You can go first. So, just side note, I didn't finish. He did. So that's why.
He's a music school dropout.
Yeah.
Well, you
and
technically
also-
know.
Yeah. Both me and Matt.
Hasan and I discovered early on that going to school for music was vastly different than playing music and performing, and it wasn't my thing. But that's me.
And as the second part of this question, how, what is the focus of the Music Institute? I mean, say relative to Juilliard or Berkeley or anything like that, because we talked about it in the first part that y'all have gotten to hear, and I just want to see what you're as you're describing what you did it in there, what your take on the reasoning behind, or the modus operandi of the Music Institute.
That's a great question. So I got my degree in guitar performance. It's a bachelor degree in guitar performance. So my degree is I would say it's an extensive, well-rounded degree in pop and contemporary styles of music. So basically everything minus classical guitar that I would study there. Even a little bit of jazz. Jazz wasn't like a big part of it, but I did study a little bit of jazz. But so like all guitar stuff, and then music history and arranging and composing and scoring, conducting, like intro to recording classes and scoring classes and music history classes, ear training, sight singing. So like all that stuff was included in things that I studied. So to your question, Adam, all that stuff pretty much gets used in what I'm doing in one way or another. A lot of it, parts of all of that, I would say.
If you keep calling me Adam, I'm going to have to explain to our listeners that my name is really Adam and it's not JR. You guys seem to really love Los Angeles. It works its way into a lot of your lyrics. How would your music be different if you were, like, say, from a small town or someplace where you were a bigger fish in a smaller pond?
Well, actually, funny thing about that is a lot of these songs were written and performed when I lived in Chicago.
When you had a band called Leland Way.
Correct. Hey, look at you.
I was watching. I found Leland Way's Instagram today, and I was listening to Red or Black as Leland Way and watching the video. I'm thinking sounds basically the same, but looks very different.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah, I could say it was people liked it. I like especially disco, which is that's a very California song, and I think I've said it a couple times. Like, I feel like we would probably see more success if we were the same three guys in Chicago playing around than here in LA. I think we'd have people chomping at the bits to just see us every weekend if we could. So yeah, I think I've seen it. To answer your question, I've seen it, and I've also seen it on the end of moving back here and being a little bit of a drop in the bucket.
Yeah.
I do like the fact that his idea of a small town is Chicago. I think that's telling. I live in a town called Palmyra.
Oh,
Okay, and it's not a town. It has a gas station
okay.
Where's
That's
that?
in Central Virginia.
Yeah, we're based out of Charlottesville.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's well, you can't even call it a suburb of Charlottesville because we're 45 minutes away. But it's and there are no roads that actually directly lead you to Palmyra from Charlottesville.
So, what is it like being a smaller band that doesn't have a huge following yet in LA? Like, what is the music scene like for you guys? Is it easy to get gigs? Is it super competitive? I mean, do you have to pay to play some places? Like, how does that work?
We all looked at each other
Yeah.
because it's definitely something that
It's easy to get gigs,
yes, thank you for it's easy to get gigs.
but
But if you want to pay to play, you need to bring out 25 plus people every damn show, and there's pretty high minimums. So booking shows isn't hard. It's kind of all the politics that go into it. I think for us, like we enjoy playing. We just want to play as much as we can, and that seems to be very hard here to just come out and play this bar on Friday, Saturday night. Don't worry about it. Just come and play. That seems to be very hard to do because now it's like, oh, you want to come out and play? Bring 25 plus people. And then anything over 25, you'll make a couple bucks.
Emphasis on couple.
Yeah.
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 I think what they're saying, the gigs are plenty, the money not.
Yeah, which ultimately, I mean, we obviously love money and want to get paid, but I think just playing is what we all love the most. And I could say, like me personally, I feel a little beaten up from these damn promoters in LA. There was a whole big thing we were talking about yesterday with this promoter that went kind of off the rails with me, but that's a different story.
Please tell us more. Inquiring minds.
Yeah.
Well, and I've got a couple of years on these guys. I don't know if it's obvious.
I couldn't tell, Matt.
Nah,
I've been at this since
y'all are youngsters, and regardless, so it doesn't
late
matter.
80s, early 90s, and I burned out. I'm from LA. I was born and raised here, and I burned out on the scene years ago. As far as these promoters are always working with bands that are, we're trying to make it. We got to make it. We're got to make it. And the things they impose on you, and it's just like, man, we just want to do our thing and share our music with the scene and have a good time. And if it turns into something great, but it's back then it was, I had to actually sell physical paper tickets back then. So it's a little, it's the same shit though. Sorry, I don't know if I allowed to swear. It's the same.
Say whatever the fuck you want, my friend.
Yeah. Same thing, man. Nothing's changed. It's pay to play. And they always make you feel like, well, you're playing the whatever. And it's like, yeah, whatever. Who cares? Like, big deal. But I think, I don't know where I'm going with this. I'm just saying, like, we just want to share our gift with the scene, get out there, and here's our stuff. And if you dig it, cool.
If that's all it ever turns out to be, are you guys cool with that? Or do you see yourselves like, I believe that your music should be way bigger than it is. Do you guys see that as well? And is that the mark of success, or are you cool with what you're doing now?
I'd like to believe that is the mark of success for us. I think if we could all do this full time and keep writing and playing every day, like that's the dream, I mean, would you guys turn down the opportunity to go on like a 6-month tour?
Yeah, I would love to get the music out to as many people as possible, for sure.
Yeah.
Do you guys have day jobs right now to support this? I would assume.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
I do.
Yeah.
Stewart's actually, he's actually a musician.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So we're in my recording studio right now. So I run a recording studio in LA and work with artists and bands and everything in between. Yeah. So I mean, I'm very fortunate to have made music my life. That was always my goal when I came out here. I moved from Albuquerque, New Mexico in 2009. That's when I met Hasan. And since I was 12 years old, that was my goal, was like figure out how to make music my life. And it just ended up being that the recording studio ended up making that happen. So.
And nothing fancy. I work in construction project management.
Oh.
So that's what pays the bills.
My day job is an IT administrator.
All right, so tell me about Leland Way. I mean, I know it's a street in LA, but it's got to be more than just a street in LA for you guys to have named you. Hasan, you named your band in Chicago that. You have a song named that. What is the deal with Leland Way?
Man, so Leland Way was the second apartment that we were roommates in.
You want to be your roommates again?
Yeah. And so that's kind of where like what 405 was born there, right?
Yeah. So it would have been 2013. Hasan and I started working on his music in my house studio. Like I had a room dedicated as my studio at that house on Leland Way. And that's when we started working on 405 way back then. And I really just started working, like, doing basic production and trying to figure out how to record and like getting my feet a little bit wet and working with artists. And that's where, like we said, 405 was born.
Yeah.
But Leland Way was not born on Leland Way. Leland Way was written in Chicago.
Yeah. In the view of getting back to California, because I had lived in California, moved back, lived in California, moved back to Chicago, and then this is my third tour here in California. So Leland Way and like 405, Disco, Red or Black were all written in the span of 5 years from when I left California and was living in Chicago before I came back.
Well, Clouds wasn't written there?
Oh, yes, Clouds. Yes, thank you. Yeah, Clouds was written, in Illinois. So is another song, Devil, that's not released yet. So, yeah, actually, like 90% of the songs were written in Illinois.
How many songs do you guys have in the hopper? Like that, are you going to be putting out a bunch of new songs? Are you going to have an album come out at some point?
So do you want to elaborate on the album thing?
We have two originals that are ready to go. Well, that are, in queue.
Yeah, we have the one dropping Friday.
Oh, well, three. Well, you can count three because we have Devil too. We just haven't recorded it. Correct. But that one's ready to be recorded, and then so we have three, but we have the one dropping on Friday, then we have another one that's gonna come out pretty it's almost done. That one's almost done as well, and then we have this other song we're calling Devil.
Yes. So we kind of have three right now. Two of the three are essentially almost ready to be released. One of them we have to start, and then we need to kind of start working on some of the newer stuff I guess I've been writing.
Yeah. So, and then as far as the album goes, gotta have the time to put in for an album. It's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, we have right now. We have enough song like this as the many songs that we released. We pretty much have an album out already.
Yeah,
which is pretty crazy to think of it that way. But we're talking 4 or 5 years of working on songs to put out. We have 9.
I think 9.
We have 9. Have 9 songs out. Yeah. Mm.
So yeah, I mean, I'll buy an album whenever you guys some merch and get an album, I'll be one of your first
Yeah,
customers.
I'm the hard copy guy, so definitely let me know when you have something in hard copy.
Cool.
He does that digital stuff. I don't.
I actually wanted to ask you guys about that. I found you on Spotify. I actually found you as when I was listening to Room for Zero, and I went to People Also Like. You were one of the bands that people also like. And then found you guys. Saw you had like 3,000 plays. That was the most on any of your songs. And I'm aware of how little that pays on Spotify. And I was just wondering, like, what is your attitude, thought about how to distribute music, how to get it out to people right now in today's world? Like, are you for Spotify, anti-Spotify, mixed feelings? You have accepted it as the reality. Like, what are your thoughts on that?
I've accepted it. Just speaking for myself, I've accepted it as a reality. I think there's pros and cons to it for sure. The pro is that you guys found us across the country. Like, that's crazy. That would have never happened if we were just distributing. And not that it would have never happened, but it would have been, someone would have had to buy our CD out here, move from here to go to there, and like you would have randomly met and like, oh, let's check this out. Like, that sort of, it would have had to happen that way or something.
Yeah.
So that reach is pretty insane, and I'm blown away that y'all found out about us like that, because it's crazy. That's how it works. And it's like, if the algorithm catches you right and sends it to the right people, and I think the algorithm does want, it wants people to stay on the platform, and it wants to feed people the best experience that it can. So I think there is some sort of like, there's a positive thing to that, to where if your music can catch it and it gets seen by the right people, then people are, we could blow up, or start getting a bigger following just by Spotify suggesting us to people like that. So that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
I do have a counter to your argument that we probably would not have heard of you. Yeah, that's still a good, that is a good argument.
Yeah.
But in 1986, my band put out our first record. And in 1988, we received letters from Australia and China.
Wow. Oh, wow.
From the people that were bootlegging our records in Australia and China, which technically is the exact same amount of money we're getting from Spotify now, having them bootlegged in those.
So how did you get over there?
Hell if I know, dude. I don't know.
You guys
that's what I'm saying. That don't count out that if Spotify wasn't there, we wouldn't have heard about you, because we didn't send anything to Australia. We sent a bunch of stuff to Europe, and we got a bunch of feedback from Europe and stuff, but we didn't send anything to any part of Asia, any part of nothing in Australia, New Zealand, anything like that. And somehow it made it. We also got letters from Australia, having never sent anything to them.
Matt, it looked like you had something to say, but we couldn't hear you. It got
a day, you'd go to a show, and when you would come out, there would be guys just passing cassettes around. Was it that kind of a scene where you were just passing your cassette around?
No, it was being from a smaller town. It was very prestigious if you went and actually published something. So the first record was on vinyl, because CDs weren't really there yet, and cassettes were seen as being low budget, low rent.
So I'm gonna ask the same question of Hasan, and then I'll ask it of Matt and Stewart. Hasan, how was Leland Way, your band in Chicago, different from Hasan and The Unseen for you? And I think I noticed you played guitar in that band and played bass in this band, but there's got to be more than that. What's the difference?
Well, I think a lot musically and talent. That I don't want.
Hey, they're sitting in the room with you, man. Come on now.
Yeah. I could definitely say like these two guys elevated the music tremendously. They've taken it to places that it was never in Chicago. You know, I think the musicians I was playing with out there were kind of more like weekend warriors. And I could say, like, I think I carried a lot of the load in that band, versus coming here. I think it was more of a smoother transition, like with these two guys. And like, for instance, the first two songs that were released, I'll say, Red or Black at 1805, that was before we weren't even a band per se. It was just, I went in with the song, I had a scratch track for both of those, and then we just built the songs up from there. And I tried to do that in Illinois, and it over the course of a year, and it never transpired. So it's like, just from the musicianship standpoint, and like, obviously Stewart's a wicked ass guitar player, and you know, we've gone with like the mindset of what is it? Is it Kiss?
Oh
yeah.
Oh, you're talking about production.
Oh no, I'm just talking.
Oh.
I'm talking about like us in the band, like Keep It Simple, Stupid. You know, Kiss.
Oh.
Not the Gene Simmons. Okay, I was confused for a second there.
Yeah, and in kind of light of like, well, Stewart's a way better guitar player. He ripped, you know, like all these solos on these songs. I do have a background playing bass, and so it was very easy for me to jump on bass and just kind of like focus on singing. And then obviously, you know, Matt just killing it on the fucking drums. So I could say, like, for me, it was like, this in my eyes is like Leland Way 10.0. You know, like Leland Way would have never seen this type of success or movement if I stayed in Illinois playing with those two same guys, who, like I said, I'm not trying to bash them at all. Like, I'm still pretty close with one of them, and the bass player, actually, he's a great guy. But I'm rambling. Long story short, this never would have happened if I stayed in Illinois.
No, that makes sense. So same question for Matt and Stewart. Well, how is Hasan and the Unseen different?
Before this one, I need to interject, because
Okay.
I do have to tell you, Matt, after Hasan just brought it up, I don't know if you noticed JR's reaction to his comment on your drumming, but he's got a major bro crush on you, drummer bro crush. So I just thought I would warn you of that. And
yeah. I was going to get to that. Your fills are sick, fast but articulate, and so they serve the song. They're not just fun fills to do; they're actually meaningful in the song.
Which is the antithesis of JR,
right?
Completely.
Power. I'm all power, no finesse, and yeah, self-taught. Started playing drums late in life. Did you start playing drums early in life, like a real drummer?
I did. I started around 8 years old.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It shows. It really shows. That's amazing. So for you two, how is this band different from Samurai Fish?
Oh,
Man, that's a crazy question.
That was like
this dug deep.
I
was expecting this.
We don't mess around, man.
Jesus, I guess not. Well, yeah, that was a whole different situation. I mean, that band was, kind of in a sense, is like what we're doing in this band right now, especially with, getting music out there and making original music, is like what I always wanted that band to be, and it never was able to transpire like that. And so, it's kind of a similar situation to what, Hasan felt with Leland Way, is like he kind of, whatever he wanted to do with that ended up being what we're doing with Hasan and the Unseen. And that was, Samurai Fish started out as a cover band, and I wanted to start pushing more original music and do original music. And we did it. We released a couple of songs, which we released one song, actually. We did two. We only released one, and I don't think that song is anywhere to be found anymore, because I pulled the
Are you referring to Don't Give a Damn?
Oh,
So
Hey.
I was digging deep on Samurai Fish's Instagram, and there is a video of you guys playing it live.
Okay.
There's an Instagram photo of it on Spotify, but it's not on
It's
Spotify.
not there. Yeah, I
No.
took it off. Yeah, TuneCore was hosting it, and I was paying yearly to put it on there. I'm like, it doesn't make any sense. But I will send it to you so you can listen to it, because that was one of my early productions as an engineer producer and like in the other studio. And I listened to it the other day, and I was like, yeah, this came up pretty good. I was really I love that song, and that was like I wanted to do with that band what we're doing with Hasan and The Unseen now. So I don't know what you have to add for that as far as, you know.
Am I answering the same question?
Yes, Matt.
Oh man. Well, for me, Samurai Fish was interesting because they were a band that was already out there playing a convention circuit of TV shows. And Stewart and I had history before. We were in a couple bands with each other, and so their drummer in Samurai Fish was having some issues, and he asked me to come step in, and went to was it Vancouver?
Vancouver was
went to Vancouver, and I sat in with them, and you know, made the show happen. And a couple of weeks later, he called me. He was like, "Hey, what do you think about this being a permanent thing?" And I was kind of like, "Whoa." At the time, I was in a Beatles tribute band that was pretty busy, you know, so I was like, how is this going to work doing this convention band and making that Beatles band work? And quite honestly, I was a little over the Beatles band. No diss to the Beatles or anything, but this was a new, fresh thing of like traveling around the country and playing conventions for TV shows. It sounded really fun. And so that's how I kind of looked at it. It was like, well, Stewart's a killer player. Let's do this. Let's take this thing. And then when we started kind of, you know, exploring the original stuff, that was cool. I had a lot of fun. I think we kind of ran into the same roadblocks that Hasan ran into with his band, where, you know, I have a, how do I put it? I have a level that I want to be at, and if it's not there, then I'm not interested.
I get that. I totally get that.
I think Stewart and I were always on the same page, and I think we've challenged each other and made it. We've both, you know, risen to the task of things, and there was some challenges with the other guys, and you know, things work out how they're supposed to work out.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And then when I was presented with Hasan and The Unseen, the funny story is I had known Hasan for 2-3 years, and I knew he went to MI. I knew he played guitar because, you know, he'd come see us playing Samurai Fish and whatnot. And then Stewart had a CD release party, and Hasan performed. And when I heard him open his mouth, I was like, this motherfucker like can sing like this? Are you shitting me? I had no idea the dude was that talented. So when I was hit up for the prospect of let's form something and see what we do, I was like, yeah, let's do this. You got the talent's there, the songwriting's there. And the cool thing about Hasan and Stewart is they've always have given me sort of free reign to do what I want. You know, they'll give me some guidance here and there, but for the most part, I'm kind of throwing in all my influences and everything that I've loved for the last 40 plus years of drumming. And so it's been really cool in that regard.
Hasan's voice was the first thing that grabbed me when I started listening to you guys.
Right.
And it's just beautiful. And I love it in every song. Even in the new song, you sort of take a different approach. You're not, you know, there's not as much sustaining notes. It's faster. And I would say it shows a slightly different side of you and your voice than the other stuff that I've heard so far. Would you say that's true?
Oh yeah, no, 100%. And that, like, that song was, I had to push myself a lot on that song because I heard the way I wanted to sing it in my head, And these guys, you know, kudos to these guys. They had to hear a lot of the train wrecking and rehearsals until I was able to really kind of hit like some of those notes, you know, like I was struggling quite a bit for, I'd say, like the first like 2 months, maybe 3 months of us playing that song, just trying to get there vocally. But then once we got into the studio and I was hitting it, I was like, this is what I heard in my head, and it's finally here now.
That's awesome.
Do you find you experience that often when you're trying to, when you hear something, even though you guys are way more educated about how to get from concept to reality? Because most of the bands we talk to and most of the bands I've worked with, played with, what have you, they don't have any training whatsoever. They have no clue how to get from concept to finished product. But do you find yourself fighting that a lot, battling? Is that a battle where you hear something, especially when you want to, you know, like take a little bit of a leap?
Yeah, no, for sure. And like I definitely like I think I rely a lot on Stewart too, because like I think he'll even tell me sometimes like, I hear what you're trying to do and I don't think it's kind of gonna happen. You know, like I think you're overshooting it. You need to be here, you know. So I like having that guidance helps get to reality a lot quicker. And I think like we've all worked with each other for so long, like we know our abilities and we know like, you know, like if I'm in the booth and he's like, and we're fucking 60 takes in and he's like, just breathe. I've heard you do this before. You could do it, you know? So like I said, I think kind of relying on these guys to help bring that reality to life is extremely helpful.
And has the work at Music Institute, did that help you get to that, or are you working straight off of guts and talent?
Yeah, it's a lot of guts and, you know, I guess talent. I didn't go there very long. So there are some things that I definitely take away from I guess the 3 months I did go there.
3 months.
Yeah, it was only 3 months.
Okay, so I withdraw that question. We can strike that from the record. Thank you.
I'm gonna take it more as it's a lot of trial and error more than anything.
So what comes first for you when you're writing a song? The lyrics, the melody, how does a song form in your brain?
You know, I think it's different every time. Sometimes I tend to write a lot of lyrics down. Like I'll just get on a roll and I'm just saying things and I'm like, oh, that rhymes and that goes with that and that goes with that. And then I'll go later and piece back with chords. For instance, like yesterday, actually I was here. I came here to drop off this camera so Stewart can set it up for this. And I was on my way home and like I was kind of just humming a melody and I just kept going at it. And then I sat down and played 2 chords and wrote, you know, 2 verses and then had to take care of some other things. And then today went back to it and almost finished it. So I think it's a little different. Like 1805 started with the riff. It started with that dun, 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 dun. And I was like, cool, this is badass. This is where I want to go with it. And it actually took me a little bit to get to lyrics. Red or Black started with lyrics. And then it was just finding kind of the rhythm of the chords and figuring that out. So it's different every time. And I used to get stressed out about it, to be honest with you. I used to think that I like, oh, you got to have a formula and stick to it or else you're not going to get where you need to go. But I've been embracing it more now and just pulling everything from everywhere.
We've noticed, Gary and I have talked about a lot on the first part of this show, the fact that your songs tend to have abrupt changes in, you know, tempo, rhythm, sound, and then you'll go from acoustic to electric kind of quick sometimes, and every bit of that speaks to me. It works for me. It doesn't always work for Gary. Gary, you want to add something to that and maybe turn this into a question?
Yeah, my question was, because we actually discussed this before we came on. Are those like specifically abrupt? I mean, do you like, oh, we're gonna cut it right here, or is that I guess I'm asking, is it style or is it necessity?
It's all intentional. That's definitely
Mhm.
all intentional. And I think that's just the style that I don't think we thought of as style. We were just like, oh, we think that sounds cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And that, like, especially with those parts in 1805, I think a lot of that came from me finding out. That's like some like studio tricks of like me working in the studio with a lot of hip hop artists, and like that's the shit that they love in songs. They love when that shit goes to, and they call it the underwater effect, to where
Underwater.
it makes it sound like it's going underwater. And I don't really remember putting that in there, or like why we put that in there, but I do remember we're like, yeah, it sounds cool. Or I don't remember how the idea was presented.
I think if I remember in 1805, what we actually did was we used the original scratch track guitar that I recorded like way back in Chicago, because I was really like, I liked the tone of it.
That gives it.
And I want it somewhere in this song, and then we placed it in kind of those vampy parts there. And like going back to even what like you were saying, like in the studio too, like the Little While song, the one we're gonna release this week, like that end break, that abrupt boom, and then I go, so you can learn to laugh for a little while. Like that was actually like we were playing the song and tuning it up, and then that was in the studio. And Stewart was like, we should break right here. So I guess again, to answer your question, I think they're all mostly intentional. Like,
intentional for sure. I'm a big fan of like those types of transitions, I think.
And we think about it, I think, from a live standpoint too.
Like dramatic. I like drama and that, like that sort of thing in music when I listen to it. So that's kind of.
I think my main take on the lo-fi parts was, I see lo-fi as using the lo-fi segment as your what is it, and I had this in my head just a second ago. If you ever watch HGTV, it's the accent wall. It's the splash, and if you do it 3 or 4 times, now you're in a room with 4 accent walls.
Yeah.
That's what I appreciate that a lot, actually.
Because yes, we're going to sit here and kiss your butts.
No.
We're also gonna go, hey, what about this? Yeah.
And I'll tell you what, when we're recording songs next, I'm gonna be like, too many accent walls. Yeah, too many accent walls. No, I definitely appreciate that. Like, and it's funny because I think even like live, like on that 1805 part, that like lo-fi, like Stewart actually hits that with a wah pedal. And but I don't think we did that. There's no wah on the recording.
I don't think so. No, it's me just trying to recreate that.
Yeah, like it. I almost wish we could go back in time and do that under like a wah modulation.
It might be cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't want to go back.
No.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of I love the way that song came out.
But we've talked a bunch now about the new single that by the time this airs, it will have already come out, right? We're recording this on Wednesday, May 14th. You're dropping it this coming Friday, is that right?
Yeah, so it'll actually come out 24 hours from right now.
Okay. Which means this won't be the world premiere when people hear it on this show, but pretty close. Just a few days later. You guys mind if I play it and then we talk about it a little bit?
Yeah, please.
All right, this is Little While from Hasan and The Unseen.
Got a call from a friend. makes me wonder a little about my own lies. Dreams are made up when your time is through, but you'll always find a way to make them true. Why don't they teach you when you're young? Voices inside your head will run. Why don't they hold your feet to the fire so you can learn to laugh for a little while? For a little while. For a little while. For a little while.
So that's the first time Gary and I have listened to it together.
Ooh, nice.
And so first off, Gary, what do you think of their new song?
I love it. Love it. I especially like the guitar solo because I mean, it's one thing that I do a lot is I try to make it sound like a synth, you know, and I'm hoping I'm not talking out of my hat because I'm hoping that you played that on guitar and just messed with it until it sounded like an old Moog that was broken. And
Yeah, that one wasn't. I wasn't going for a synthy sound, which it's cool that it comes off that way. I'm totally cool with it. My influence on that was, well, there's a couple influences of that, but that's the first of all, the one thing I wanted to do is I wanted to do something really weird and strange with that solo. So that's where I started with it. And so I had recently bought a left-handed guitar for the studio, so I was like, well, let's start with a left-handed Gretsch and let's write a solo on this left-handed guitar because I won't play anything that I normally do because it's, you know, backward upside down.
Right.
So that's where it started. And then the other part of it was like, okay, let's trip it out and do some like Tony Iommi shit and do two separate channels of this guitar. And so it has a fuzz on one side and then it has a phaser on the other. And I think together that's what creates that synthy sound. And a rat pedal inherently sounds very synthy to me.
Yes.
So that's where that comes from. So.
And Matt, your drums on this, very original sounding. Like, I don't think I've heard any other song with drums done that. There's some syncopation in there, and some it sounds like a lot of fun to play.
Yeah, very fun. It's definitely Steve Gadd inspired. You know who Steve Gadd is? Like,
I think I should, but I don't.
Very
50 ways to leave your lover.
Yeah, that kind of stuff.
Oh,
he pioneered making rudiments sound cool. So it's kind of an homage to him for sure. And then, you know, it's got the heavy parts too, which breaks away from him a little bit. So yeah, very fun track to play because, you know, I move unless you see what I'm doing. You know, I break up the right and left hand. That might be deceiving if you're just listening to it, but if you see it, it's like, oh, that's what he's doing. Okay, you know, some paradiddle stuff. It's fun.
Yeah, I need to learn those rudiment things. I've heard of those that they can help.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun.
Yeah.
While the guitar player and bass player discuss them, that's when he hears about them.
Yeah, I think for you on the guitar end, I think almost all the guitars were guitars that, like, between me and Stewart, we have just a sickly amount of instruments, and we used like mostly all guitars that we've never used on any of our songs before.
Yeah, that was another
this
thing
song, which was cool.
And your bass comes out nice, loud, and proud to start the song. Hasan is great.
Yeah, actually, Stewart wrote that bass line, and then it's it really evolved from there. I used it's an 87 PVT 40 bass, fat pickups on it. The super heavy 16-pound.
Yeah, the oak PVT 40. Yeah,
fucking wood. Yeah.
with those big gnarly chrome and gold leaf pickups.
Yeah. So that, and we mic'd an 810 Ampeg, and had a little 200-watt micro VR head up on top of it. It was adorable. But just a killer tone. And I think, well, Leland Way, we did mic a bass amp, but I mean, this one was kind of like the more real, like where it was actual, this is a monster, this bass amp. A lot of the other songs, the bass was like DI with Sims.
So no abrupt transitions in the song. A couple stops, right? But no, none of what Gary was talking about earlier with the total change in tone or anything like that.
Yeah, nothing crazy on this one. Yeah, this one's just like a straight ahead song that kind of came together pretty quickly.
Yeah. I think, was it like October or something like that?
Yeah.
It was like October last year that it was like we were at the end of a band practice, and I was like, hey, I started writing something. And we switched. He jumped on the bass. I jumped on guitar, and he wrote that bass line, and we just started fleshing it out from there.
Yo, like, this is the bass line. This is the one. This is it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I said that was it when we played it or after listening to it.
I think it was after listening.
Yeah, because we record all our rehearsals, and I was listening back, and I'm like, no, that's the bass line. That's like the hook riff that needs to be through the whole song.
Yeah.
That's like you come back. So
it has sort of an alternative pop from the 90s kind of a vibe to it, and I really dig that.
Yeah, the mid to late 90s, when once the grunge had kind of subsided, when it was more melodic pop. And
yeah, I was gonna say I've gotten that a lot about our music. Like it's like someone said, it's like, what if like Three Doors Down or Train, even a little bit of Oasis, like made some music today. And yeah, like that was something someone told me a long time ago.
Yeah, I think Train is the one that I could identify the most with.
Yeah, I've
you guys.
a lot of Train, and it's so funny because I haven't really listened.
It's because your vocals, because you have a high tenor, which doesn't fit with what you look like, or the and that's a beautiful thing, because when you open your mouth and what comes out is not what is expected, then that adds interest. When some little kid stands up and sounds like Meatloaf, people take notice. When the little kid sounds like Julie Garland, no, not so much.
Yeah.
And to be clear, the comparison to Train is really your melodic voice.
Right. Yeah.
Your musicianship, I think, far exceeds what those guys are doing.
Oh,
well,
nice.
if we could ride Jupiter, I would be happy.
Yeah.
So.
You've got some hooks that I think could end up there, man. I really do.
We sound like a locomotive.
Oh.
I am almost out of questions, but here's my last one. From your bio, you guys mentioned that Stewart and Matt, you guys met from a Craigslist ad for a kids band, and I just want to know, did you guys play in a kids band, and what was that like if you did?
I think everyone reads it that way. Well, like, we weren't playing with kids. We played in a band that was playing for kids.
For kids. That's what we thought.
I took it to mean you were playing for kids, not like, with kids.
Okay.
That's just too much torture.
I mean, is this like the Wiggles or something? Yeah. Is it something in like that?
It was the Wiggles. He had to wear makeup and shit.
I had to wear makeup and a wig, and I was in the band for a couple of years, and then Stewart answered a Craigslist ad and joined the band, and that's how he and I met. And then from there, we've kind of, invited each other to different projects, and But what was that? 2014.
14.
But it was
Was it actually the Wiggles?
no.
Oh, okay.
I don't feel like plugging them right now, but
Yeah,
Understood.
it was fun. We had some fun times doing that. So but yeah, I mean, that's how we met. So yeah, we had a good time.
Yeah, I think maybe if you dig for like deep enough in maybe Matt's Instagram, maybe you could
he'll find it.
Yeah, maybe
it's
you
out
might
there.
find
He's
some
crazy.
photos.
It's out there.
It's worth the sight for sure.
Oh boy, I didn't dig deep enough. Damn.
All right, so since you're out of questions, I guess we should let them know, because we rate 3 things. We already told you about your name, that we got 2 thumbs up on the name. The second thing is your bio. So go ahead and because we read the bio. That's one of the ways that he works to pick a band out.
Yeah, I have found some bands that had quite the entertaining, well-written bio. 3 for Silver comes to mind as probably the best bio of a band I've ever read. So when I read your bio, obviously a lot of very helpful information for me in coming up with what to ask you guys about. But just as a band bio, we were kind of mid on that.
Yeah, it wasn't thumbs up, thumbs down, because it was too factual. It was just like it read like a Wikipedia article.
Yeah, it is.
So that's one of the things that we, because the last Room for Zero, theirs was so over the top. We're like, hey, reel that sucker back in. Maybe next time don't take mushrooms before writing the bio. But for you guys, take a little mushrooms, have a couple of bong hits or something before writing the bio. And
that's helpful. Thank you.
I also noticed on your Spotify page that if you go down far enough, you're going to find like 5 or 6 versions of Red or Black, all at different stages of the mixing and mastering process. It's also on YouTube that way, which is pretty cool to hear the song, get full, right? Because there's a couple of them like, did my volume go way down? No, it's just an early mix where it's just not mastered for it yet. Yeah. And it was pretty cool to hear the guitar get added and the rest, and then to what the final mix and mastering sounds like. It's pretty neat. I don't know, was that done on purpose to put your process out there, or was it you don't see that from most bands?
That was done as a complete experiment. I mean, that was like that I think that's Metallica inspired for me, because, and you can see this with they just re-release Load, and it has like 281 songs on it. But they've been doing that type of shit for a long time, where they on their website you could go and listen to their concerts from 1984 that were just, some of them were terrible, like they sounded bad, they didn't sound good, but they released all that shit. They let you into their world of like, this is what it was like, and
inclusion. Yeah.
So I wanted to show the process of Red or Black, so it was just an experiment of like, oh, will people listen to this? And you listen to it and you made my day. Because I mean, I find that shit of bands so fascinating. Like if I like a song, if I could hear an early version of it, it's so cool for me. So that's why.
So did you start with the finished version and then go backwards?
Correct. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Red or Black was released like 3 years before that, or 2 years before that.
Like 2 years.
And then we went back and we're like, okay, let's repackage this. And also it was about the artwork too, because the artwork for all of those releases was from that original photo shoot of outtake photos that I actually took all those photos of Hasan, and then we repackaged them and used the artwork, and I kind of redesigned the artwork for those releases too. So it was the music along with the artwork, if people are into that sort of thing.
Yeah, I don't know that you see all the artwork obviously on Spotify, but you do on YouTube.
It's bigger. Yeah, you can see it bigger.
Yep.
And that was the other question. We still haven't gotten to the third rating, but this is kind of lending into that. There were videos on the Spotify.
It's like a clips that would
Like
you know,
clips.
over and over
Did
again.
y'all
Like
put
in
video on
405.
there, or is that just something random that got added to it?
Oh, the canvases. No,
canvas.
those were we put those up there. Yeah.
Okay, because that was interesting, because they were both literally just yeah, the whole thing moved there.
Yeah, that was
Yeah, it's like Matt's no longer in the band.
Yeah, you've excluded me. There it is. There you are.
I don't, you know.
But it was, they were both, of course, they're both songs about roads. So you know, but both of them having the cars, because we had on the last one, we had their first video was shot from the back seat of a car, and they didn't do it at all. They just found, it was found footage. But I just thought that was interesting, because it's like, oh, more car videos.
Oh yeah, so yeah, that's I took that. That was like, we were just driving. My wife and I were driving through Hollywood, and I was like, oh, this would be a really cool shot. Drive by slow, and I'm gonna get this and turn on our old street, and I caught that video. So that was actually like spontaneously shot. So
that's cool.
Awesome. Thank you for getting back in the shot, Matt. I appreciate it.
So from the video, so we gave thumbs up. I think that gets a thumbs up from the videos, because they actually shot it and everything. Because I mean, so many people, they don't think about that part, or they think way too much about it, you know. So
yeah.
it,
By the way, just a quick shout out. He's done all of the artwork for every release.
Yeah.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
What don't you do, Stewart?
Yeah. Yeah, he's the man for sure.
Are there any questions we should have asked you that we haven't asked you?
I mean, we could probably talk forever. I unfortunately got to get going, because I gotta run a session. But I don't know if you guys if you don't have anything left, then I think
I had one last little tidbit that and this comes all the way from the very first, when he started describing you to me at the very first of the thing. So it's the perfect wrap. In one of the descriptions, y'all were described as LA psychedelic pop, you know, LA psychedelic rock.
Yeah.
Where the hell did that come from? Because you guys are not psychedelic that I could
go back and look at the cover of 405 and see if you can pick out some references in that. That's a very Pink Floyd inspired cover for me. That's very tripped out cover, and that song is not psychedelic by any means. But yeah, I mean, you know, the drug references are
there's a lot of drug references.
There's a lot of drug references in the songs. You know, I think I would say I'm trying to implement more psychedelic stuff in the music. That would have been the A Little While solo. That was me like really trying to trip out a solo and like make it super psychedelic and, you know, that sort of thing.
Also live, because I feel like we touch more on the psychedelic side a little bit more live in the little jamminess, solos. Like it's very and imagery too. That's the other thing too. It's like the imagery of the band. So look at the covers. Like that's like me kind of delving into the psychedelic, like especially like the disco cover. Like I said, the 405 cover is another one. That cover is very deep actually. Like I mean, I'm trying to think of other ones. Brain Stew kind of psychedelic too. Like disco, how it's the bay flipped over.
Yeah, like that sort of thing.
I don't think in fairness to Gary, I don't think I definitely did not play all of your songs for Gary. I cherry picked a few. Disco and Clouds might be a little bit more psychedelic than what he heard.
Yeah, and I think so I think it's imagery is a big part of that, and even in the new one, if you saw that, you haven't seen the artwork for the new one, that was very Blue Oyster Cult inspired. artwork. So like everything comes from like, you know, those.
Yeah, and I apologize. I really didn't pay attention to the artwork when he flew him up on my screen. I was more intent on listening.
Yeah,
Listening,
for sure.
if you had if the video was there, I was intent on following the video and putting it into context.
No, you're good.
But it was just weird because I've heard a lot of bands, you know, called psychedelic rock, and you listen to them, I'm like, okay, I'm waiting for it, you know.
Yeah, I would.
The acid trip.
I would say, yeah, that's something that's, you know, we're waiting to implement it a little bit more for sure, or not waiting, but that's something I'm like pushing to implement more.
You're evolved. That's where you would like to evolve to.
I think so for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Sweet.
Hasan, Stewart, Matt, thank you so much for agreeing to be on this show, for really pulling out all the stops, hooking us up with the video, the in studio. You're going to send me some audio, so this is going to sound great. It's going to look great.
It's going to sound great.
And I truly hope to see you make it big. And I want to be able to point to those guys on stage at Coachella or Austin City Limits Festival or somewhere and go, I heard those guys back when they only had 3,000 plays of their most popular song. I was there first.
We interviewed those guys.
That's right.
We were cool.
And when you have hard copies, media, merch available, hit me up. Let me know, and I will be the first to buy some and have you ship it all the way across the country here to Virginia.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
Thank you guys as well. I mean,
Thanks, guys.
say what you guys are
and
doing.
if you ever head this way, let us know, and we'll work to get you some places. And
yeah, that'd be great. I'd love to play that gas station you're talking about.
Right.
We're playing basically a gas station in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah. And just really quick, you guys are in a band, right?
Right.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yes. I would love links if you could.
Yeah, please send us social media links and everything.
Okay. Yeah, we have a ridiculous website, so we'll send you that in the Facebook and stuff. So.
Gary can hook you up with all of that stuff. Thank you even for asking, because we try not to make this show about our band when we're doing this. It doesn't help it come out sometimes, but thank you for asking. And yeah, we hope somebody notices us someday. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Cool.
Thanks
Thanks,
again, guys. This has been fantastic.
So we know where you are, man. We know.
Yeah, you know where we are.
Thanks, guys.
Yeah.
See you guys.
Rock line.
See ya.
Wow, that was fantastic. And if I don't know what to say, I'm speechless.
Big thank you to Hasan and The Unseen for agreeing to be on a podcast called Bands You've Never Heard Of, and to allow us to play their songs on this show, and to show up and give us a fantastic interview.
Bands You Never Heard Of is a Ranch Hand Records production.
Hosted by me, J.R. Stoffel, and Gary Hawthorne, two friends and founding members of another band you've never heard of, ToBe Fare. Find out more about their music, our music, at ToBe Fare, ToBeFare.com.
Bands You've Never Heard Of is written by JR and reacted to by me, Gary.
All of the music you heard in this episode was used with permission from the band you've never heard of, Hasan and The Unseen, and our band, ToBe Fare, with that one exception of that Green Day song. I hope they don't mind.
Well, we should send it to him anyway, because he needs to hear that.
For sure.
Bands featured on Band You Never Heard Of have no more than 100,000 plays of any of their songs on Spotify or YouTube.
If you know of or are in a band that nobody's ever heard of and you think we should feature them on this show, please send us an email with your details, BYNHO, band you've never heard of, BYNHOpod@gmail.com.
To hear what JR has to say about anything and everything, check out his other podcast, 3 Things with JR.
And if you want to listen to Gary as he rants about whatever's pissing him off right now, check out his podcast, Gary Goes On and On and On.
Or if you want to hear us both together again, considering the small things in life, check out our other podcast we do together, Small Things Considered.
It seems like maybe we do too many podcasts, Gary, and that's not even including the one I do for work, Crutchfield the Podcast.
Or your YouTube channel, What Is It About You? where you interview interesting people in public.
How do we even have time to play music? We have a gig coming up. We got rehearsals to do, and we're too busy making podcasts. Maybe this is why nobody's ever heard of our band, that we'll be playing live gigs. ToBeFare.com for dates.
These end credits have gotten way too long again.
Yeah, we should probably finish this up and play the damn theme song.
Yeah, thanks for listening, everybody.
Thank you so much for listening to bands you've never heard of, and peace out, everybody.
See you next month.
Man, that was cool.
That was fun. Yeah, that was cool. Except for looking like a fat fuck.
No, that was good. That was dope.
That was super cool.
I mean, I wish we had had more time. We got it recorded though. It'll be cool.
Recorded it?
Yeah, they were.
Well, they recorded, but we recorded the audio. But it would be cool to chop that video up.
Right.
If we could use it.
Oh, you're gonna send him that audio?
Yes.
Oh, nice. Very nice.
All right, that's done. What's next?